Good evening, Toastmasters and guests. I am Libby Abraham, your host for today's session on Club Executive Committee roles and responsibilities. Before we dive in, let's cover a few ground rules to ensure a smooth experience. First and foremost, please ensure to keep your audio on mute at all times, and let us try to avoid any surprise soundtracks later on. We encourage you to turn on your videos. Seeing your lovely faces will make this session more interactive and enjoyable. Now, unless you are in witness protection, then we definitely understand. If you have any questions, do put them up in the chat box. We will address all your questions during a dedicated Q&A session. Let us do this so that we don't interrupt the speaker when he's speaking. Now, as we get into the session, with a quick show of hands, can you let me know how many of you have served in XCOM roles before? Yes, I can see a few hands. Great. And now, how many of you are considering taking up these roles for the future? Great job there as well. So now, whether you are an XCOM veteran or you are a first timer or you're just simply curious to see what happens behind the curtain in a Toastmasters club, this session is for you. We are going to unpack the key responsibilities of each XCOM role and share practical tips and tricks that will help you excel in your term. And who better to lead us through this than someone who's practically a walking, talking XCOM manual. With 8 years of Toastmasters experience and over 10 executive committee terms under his belt, he is the go-to expert on everything from VP membership mysteries to treasure hunts. A past division director and a champion of IRSE values, that is integrity, respect, service, and excellence. He combines wit, wisdom, and a dash of humor to make learning unforgettable. By day, he is a consultant in the oil and gas field, but today he is here to fuel our knowledge about Toastmasters. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a warm round of welcome to distinguished Toastmaster Ashwin Iyer.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Libby, for that warm welcome and setting the context. And good evening, everyone. Thank you for taking out your time and attending this meeting to know more about XCOM roles, to know more about leadership in Toastmasters, and to explore different opportunities of learning. As Libby mentioned, can you switch on the video? It will be better as a feedback for me to understand as well. So that will be a great sign. Before we get started, just if we can unmute and if we can see any open the floor for any expectations from this session. Definitely the session name is called XCOM roles and responsibilities explanation. But do you have any specific area where we want to dive deep? You can just unmute and speak, or else you can just put it on the chat as well. I hope the chat is enabled. Libby, is it? Okay, it is enabled. All right, so feel free to post your questions as well. So in this session, based on what we have planned, there are three main segments. The first is what exactly is Toastmasters leadership and what is the benefit? We are anyway here to become good communicators, right? So what is exact benefit of getting into leadership, getting into executive committee of a club, and how things span over there? The second segment would be roles and responsibilities. We have a mixed audience, right, today. Some people have already experienced XCOM, but we'll run through quickly different roles, that are 7 official roles, and the support squad or buddy system in executive committee. And the third and the last segment is what to expect. Suppose you have become an executive committee officer, how much time would it take, how much effort would it be required, and beyond, and multiple topics about what to expect after you become an officer. And in the end, we'll end it with question and answer, or any personalized question, any difficulty that you're facing, we'll address that. Officially, this segment is for 1 hour. We'll try to complete it in 40 minutes and then 10 minutes for question and answer. We'll wrap it up by 10, 10, 10. 10 p.m. or 10 p.m. All right. So we have one question. I will soon be becoming immediate past president. How should I be involved? Good. So in addition to the 7 roles, we'll also discuss a little bit about the 8th role, which is the immediate past president. Nice. So now can we have the first poll just to understand, like, uh, we'll understand how old are you in the Toastmasters system? When did you join Toastmasters? I hope you are answering the poll. And once we have done with around 80% of the participants, maybe we can switch on the results. We can switch to the results. The reason I'm asking is that way we'll be able to customize the session on which area to focus. Should it be focusing more on the roles explanation or the benefit? Can we have the results, please?
I've shared it, Ashwin.
Is it? Now it's visible. Okay, so maximum 50% is 1 to 3 years back, and 0 to 6 months back is also good amount. Can we also have the second poll about have you taken any XCOM role yet? Any club officer role? 1, 0, 2 to 4, 5 plus multiple roles. All right, and once the results are here, we can have the display of results for that as well. Yes, can we have the result? Okay, higher is 0 and 2 to 4. All right, nice. We have a pure mix of multiple scenarios. All right. So I'll go with the basics. I'll start with the basics. What is executive committee? For any club to run, there are a few positions. A few officers are elected, selected, nominated, ultimately elected, and they are in the position to serve the club. As it's a voluntary organization, non-profit organization, these 7 main particular officers have specific roles and responsibilities, and they contribute in a meaningful way with which a club is run week over week or fortnight over fortnight based on your club system. Along with every meeting by meeting, there are also general aspects of decision making, operations, planning required. So these things also together, these 7 people group of committee members together come, plan and execute. So that is nothing but executive committee of a club. It is also in short called XCOM, yeah, or some clubs called XCOM. So executive committee is that. Can we have everyone on mute, please? Rinky. If you're joining, please mute the audio. Yeah. Now in executive committee, why exactly go into leadership path? We have anyway joined Toastmasters. Why? Some people, communication, speech, development, confidence. But the tagline of Toastmasters itself is what we have where leaders are made, right? To become a great leader, you have to start with communication. Every leader is a great communicator, but not every communicator is a great leader. So it's a step-by-step process where we start with communication and we also get hands-on leadership experience. Now, why XCOM leadership role in a Toastmasters framework? Because it gives us scenarios, it gives us simulations where we face problems which we might not face in the outside world if we weren't there in XCOM role. So, for example, if there is any conflict between 2 different officers, how to resolve that conflict? You go through that tough situation, you handle that, manage that, and succeed that. And same experience, you can replicate that in your work. So it already gives us a laboratory to experiment, to fail, to try, to seek advice from seniors and apply that. And that way we get hands-on experience on leadership. So in the college days, I used to search a lot. So I did my computer engineering. And in the tech side, there were a lot of projects to be done. Many problem statements were given on what to do. And then the solution set was to how to write a code for that. But on the other side, I kept on searching a lot for how to train myself on leadership. What are some dummy projects or sample case studies I could do? I did not get anything. But Toastmasters, I feel, is a perfect example where you can practice leadership by getting into club XCOM, club leadership, and take a step ahead to the district leadership later on. So that's why organizing, planning better, initiative taking ability, time management, all these skills are something that a person would be honing when they take the club leadership roles. And in career, definitely for all three tiers, there are different benefits. For early career individuals who are just getting started or freshers, they already get a gist of how to manage people, how to interact with a team, how to collaborate. For mid-level people, it's more about building consensus, how to take them together, how to make decisions for the larger good of the people. And for late career, end phase career, definitely all the rich experience that you have, you can now share it with the members, new joinees, mid-career people, and mentor other people. So for everyone in their journey, XCOM leadership has something to provide to you. And that is why we'll be going on to the next phase. But before that, we mentioned about being a better individual in the career. And third is personal life. I want to share a little bit. So interpersonal communication is something that we practice a lot being in the executive committee, because we have to interact with people of different type, different personalities, right? And here we have to get the work done. The outcome is ultimately to get the work done. So to keep each other's biases separate, each other's ego separate, and strive for the ultimate goal is something that we learn how to deal with people. And that is, I feel, is one of the best skills a person can acquire in their life, interpersonal communication skill. And in addition, there are a lot of other skills that we'll learn. So let's dive deep into the roles and responsibilities of each role. And here we'll set a timer of 14 minutes, now maybe 16 minutes since we had a question about IPP. So 2 minutes each role is something that we'll do. And after every two roles, we'll keep the floor open for questions of those two specific roles that we discussed. All right. So before we get started, any questions you have about in general what I mentioned about the benefits, about the initiative taking ability, and all the skills that we hone, you please put it on the chat. Let us first start with the Sergeant at Arms role. Sergeant at Arms role is a role that is the logistic chair of the club, responsible for all the logistics, right from digital to offline logistics, in-person offline meeting logistic. Not only that, the Sergeant at Arms gets the opportunity to open the meeting and set the high energetic tone, set the context for the entire meeting. So when the first part about logistics comes about, if it's a Zoom meeting, if it's an online meeting, taking care about the online space, which is Zoom, Teams, or WebEx, whatever we have, the platform, making sure every setting is done right, making sure all the preparations are done, settings are done. And with that, taking care of the meeting as well once the meeting is going on as a host. Give important points, max 5 for each role. All right, so I'll just explain what exactly is the role, and then we'll have the important points for that. In the offline space, the logistics, be it the Toastmaster assets that we have, the banners, standee, ribbons, the trophies, the gavel, in charge of all these things it will be of the Sergeant at Arms. And the coordination of the space, if it is an offline meeting, the space that we have, the rent, the snacks, the facilities. So the Sergeant at Arms would be the in charge of all the logistical aspects of the club. Now, some people I have heard saying that SA or Sergeant at Arms is a very petty role or it's a small role. But I feel that is a very great role to get started into the XCOM leadership, as well as a role where you will be more active if you feel that you are in an inactive phase. I remember an example where distinguished Toastmaster Deepak Menon being the international director, he had said, even while I was serving as international director, he was the Sergeant at Arms at one of his clubs. So that means that it's not something which is like a small role, but a role which will make you even more active. And if you are afraid of the stage, then no matter if VP education is not giving you slots or a lot of slots, you get a slot compulsorily in the beginning to start the meeting. So that is about the Sergeant Arms role. If you have questions, please keep on putting. In this role, as I mentioned, confidence building, time management, organization skills, as well as facing some uncertainties is something that you will learn. How to manage contingencies, etc. Moving on to the next role is of treasurer. The treasurer's role, as the name says, treasury, money management. Whatever fees is required to be paid to Toastmasters International and whatever fees is to be paid to different vendors, be it Zoom, be it our space that we take for rent, venue, snacks, stationery, awards, money related aspects is something that the treasurer will handle. Incoming, which is income from the members through fees, membership fees. So additional incoming, maybe some events or sponsored event that you might host, and outgoing Toastmaster fees and all the vendor payments and the general expenses. So managing income and outcome, if you are mastered, then treasury role is something for you. But if you are not a master in managing money, even then I would highly recommend you to take this role with the guidance of someone who is well versed with this. Me personally, I was I was having apprehensions on how to track things, how to manage things, me being not from a finance department. But by taking this role, I have become more prudent, even in my personal life, of how to track every expense down to that 1 rupee, down to that last rupee, and how to keep a track of everything on Excel or whatever system you maintain. So this quality of having a good relationship with money is the best skill that you would hone if you take the treasurer role. And definitely from your club, people who are in the finance or accounting aspect will guide you on how to do the operations of this thing, how to get it done. The next role, before going to the next role, I personally have done treasurer 3 times, and I feel that it is something which keeps me on the toes for every meeting and makes you accountable every meeting. Okay, this is guest fee. Okay, keep it updated. Now move on to the next. Now track the different account head. So these kind of agility is something that I gained through treasurer's role. Now let's do some fun thing rather than just one part. Let's try to name XCOM roles in our just fun, desi or mischievous way, right? So when we say Sergeant at Arms, you just recommend some fun name. Or like for example, when I was delivering another 7-in-1 training, when we wanted to name the treasurer's role. So someone said Mota Bhai, Paisa Wala Aadmi, something like that, some fun role, fun tagline or fun name. So anything, let's start with Sergeant at Arms. Any fun phrase or fun name can you suggest? Just to add a flavor to different XCOM roles.
One day you will become the international director.
Oh, when I mentioned that Deepak Menon's example. All right, okay.
Hathodi
And
Baba.
for treasurer, yes, Meda.
So for Sergeant at Arms, one can be Hathodi Baba because that person takes care of the hammer.
Well, absolutely. Hathodi Baba, very good. All right, for treasurer, I know for treasurer there could be multiple options. Any mock name, fun name for treasurer? Like last time someone mentioned Kuvera or Dhanvantri or Big Pockets, Money Man, all these things. So that's how we keep in the meeting also, XCOM meetings also fun, right? Like we pull each other roles leg and keep having fun. All right, if you get any fun name for treasurer, put it in the chat. And as I explain the other roles, you can think of some fun name for other roles as well. Moving on to the secretary role. Secretary is the role where the maximum aspect of maintaining the records, keeping the data, ensuring that everything is in place with respect to digital assets are concerned. The primary responsibility of secretary is to maintain what is happening in the meeting in the form of minutes of meeting. So we have agenda, but at times in agenda, there are backouts, right? So what happens in meeting is recorded in the minutes of meeting. And there are multiple formats. There's a skeleton format, there's a textual format, there's a detailed format to capture everything. Tomorrow, say after maybe 7 months or 10 months, if you want to refer to that particular meeting, what happened during that meeting, maybe for Leader in Me award or some cross consolidation. So you can check that MOM, and that is the valid copy of evidence of that meeting. In addition to that, many secretaries, what do? That the education track is taken care of the treasurer, of the members through secretary. What I mean by that, if in pathway, we see only level 2 completed or level 5 completed, right? So whenever the meeting completes, secretary takes care about every person's speech completed, and that way the track of every meeting is kept in addition to MOM. So in that Excel sheet, just if you just search your name, and you can see which speech you had delivered on which date. So record keeping and filing these awards in addition with the VP Education, helping VP Education with education goals, planning, etc., is something that secretary would be doing. One skill that gets improved while doing secretary role is effective writing. When you keep writing MOMs, you consolidate a lot of content into small part, right? Into condensed form. So the skill of writing, creative writing, effective writing is developed by the role of secretary if you do secretary role. Treasurer paise wala, right? Hemant Vora, yes, paise wala is a good term, fun keyword. The next one, we move on to the next role, which is VP PR, Vice President Public Relations. Now, the VP PR has multiple roles. As the name mentions, public relations, maintaining that rapport with members by sharing information. What kind of information? Different flows of information. Things which are happening in district, the awards which are being shared, the events which are being shared, just like this one. So inflow of information from outside world, which is from district to the club, is one direction of communication. Another direction of communication is things that are happening in the club. In the club, members are getting awards, someone is achieving something in their personal life, birthday, or maybe completed a level completion, won the contest. So these things highlighted to the outside world. So your club achievements and member achievement highlighted to the other world, that is other direction. Posting it in the district group, posting it in Mumbai, Gujarat, Rajasthan group, etc. And the third one is internal communication. So like to increase the engagement, you can post birthday wishes, you can congratulate members on level completions, you can have fun quiz and games on your club WhatsApp group to improve engagement, to share the posters of event which are happening in the club. So this kind of communication would help members be engaged with the club and the club members. So in that way, members feel they are a part, they are involved in the club operations, and the participation in meetings would also improve. So that's about the Vice President Public Relations. So the skill gained in this particular role are multifold. One is planning exactly what kind of communication works, not to overload, not to have a scarcity of communication. So having that management of what to send, when to send, how to send is something. The next is a technical skill that VPPR gains is designing beautiful posters, writing beautiful effective copies to share the message, to share the events, to improve participation is something that they learn through this. There are multiple tools available like Canva, maybe PPT or editing tools through which we make posters, and through our DPRM team and the international team, we have guides as well through which you can create beautiful posters to convey your information about the events or any specific program that you want to share. So any questions till now about Sergeant at Arms, Treasurer, Secretary, or Vice President Public Relations? You can put it on chat or just raise your hand and we'll get that answered. Meanwhile, if you get any fun name for treasurers, for secretary or VPPR, please go ahead.
Ashwin,
While treasurer is responsible for managing the club's fund, are they also responsible for gathering funds as well? Gathering funds, there are two avenues to gather funds. One, is through club members' fees. And second is through some fundraising activity or speechcraft activity. Gathering it through membership is something that, yes, you are partially responsible along with the VP membership by uh, along with VP membership, you have a streamlined process to transfer fund to either your account to bank account. But from the events like sponsored event, you might not be responsible for that. But as a collective team unit, if you go ahead and have some fundraising event or sponsorship event, you can go ahead with that. I hope, Shubhan, your question is answered. What about maintaining member list and guest list by VPM or secretary? So VP membership and VP membership buddy or team would be maintaining the guest list, because guest would be directly getting in touch with the membership, VP membership. But secretary is ultimately in charge for keeping all the records. So when the minutes of meeting or meeting tracker is being made, secretary will capture that as well. Which guest joined, how many guests joined, how many guests now later on would be converted into member. Later on, if that member gets converted. So record keeping secretary would do, but liaising or handling coordination would be done by VP membership. VP membership will just pass on the data. So Vishwajit says secretary Atmaram Tukaram Bide. Oh, Atmaram Tukaram Bide. Is this the gesture, right? All right. I guess you linked that secretary to secretary, but yes, a nice one. Meda said secretary Sachivji inspired by Panchayat. Yes, right. Keeping all the record Panchayat web series. I have seen that too. Nice. Let's move ahead. For VPPR, if you have something, please do that. One thing for VPPR from my side is Bol Bachchan, because we see all VPPRs posting their poster in the main group, right? So that is something that we mock all the VPPRs with. Mitesh says Secretary Birbal or Chitragupta. Okay, very good. Nice. Nice. Moving ahead. That's the engagement that I was looking for. Very good. Next, moving ahead, another next role is VP membership. Pyara Insan. Oh, Pyara Insan, and the wordplay Pyara Insan. Very good, Meda. Nice word. I think you have already done VPPR to come up with such creative ideas, or maybe not. You can apply for one in the next term. The next role is Vice President membership. As the name says, membership. Vice President membership has two-sided responsibilities. One, to have growth in the membership of the club through different avenues. One is pull method. Whenever the guests are in the club, we interact with them. The vice president membership explains about the norms, explains about the benefit, and finally invites them for maybe another meeting, or maybe gives them a role, table topic motivation. They nominate themselves and they make them a part of the system and have that friendly one-on-one interaction to convert them from a guest to member. And that's how they understand, okay, by being a guest, I can experience these things. Now, by being a member, I can have a lot more benefits. So making a friendly tie with the guest and converting them into members. The other part is a method where you reach out to people. Maybe through your club member, you say, okay, maybe invite 2-3 more people from your friend circle, and we can join, we can have them as a guest, and then reaching out to them to explain the benefit. Just following up on the posters posted, or maybe some inquiries that you get. So reach out to those members on phone to explain, okay, these are the meeting timings. You can come as a guest and you can attend, and then you can try it out. So this is one part to increase the membership. There are multiple strategies here. We'll not go deep into that, like membership drive, online blast method of posters, social media events. So these different strategies to improve membership. But the first basic part is to improve the club membership number. The second part is to have a close tie with your own members. What after you have converted them into members, they are in the system, but you being VP membership, you only onboarded them, right? You are the first connect for that person. So you continue maintaining that relationship and then just check with them. Okay, in the beginning, you as a guest, you are active. Now you are not active. So is there something that we could do additionally for you? Then link it up to VPPR, link that person to maybe some senior member for mentoring that way. So first part, increasing club membership. Second part, having a relationship with the members of the club to make them active and to have an engaging relation. So VP membership, any question? VP membership also, in addition, as I mentioned, they would follow up for fees, they would work with secretary for renewals. So all these things are part and parcel. We won't be able to cover everything in 1 2-minute, 3-minute explanation, but I hope you got the gist of it. VP membership is the outward facing representative of the club. So if the VP membership is able to speak well, represent well, then your club's face is in a good way. So this role will benefit you with respect to how to break the ice even before they come to the club, have a conversation, have small talk first. So if you want to experiment and explore your extrovertism, then this is a good role. In addition, you will be also able to slightly learn sales skill. Ultimately, if you want to increase the membership, it's not about selling things, but always if you want to convince someone about the benefits that we have, we need to explain it in a way that looks a little bit fancy, right? We won't say, there are sessions, you have to come and give speech and all these things. So you make it in a way where the benefit are reflected. So that way, sales aspect is also something that you will learn, you will imbibe once you have mastered VP membership role. Hemant is saying VP PR Maska Maring. Maska Maring, yes, and Meda says it suits better for VPPM VPM as well, right? VPM and VPPR Maska Maring. At times when the number drops very low, at that time the Maska Maring becomes high. But yes, one thing that I learned in VP membership role is that not to lie just to increase the numbers, not to make false promises. For example, in one of my one term when I was VP membership, there was a person who had this stammering discomfort. So in stammering, he was not able to pronounce every word in a single flow. And he was expecting that Toastmasters would cure or solve his problem. So at these times, you have to be realistic. Rather than getting just +1 in your membership goal, you have to be really truthful to the person who is already having a problem. So we mentioned to them that this won't solve or cure or resolve your problem, but this would be a platform where you could practice what your speech therapist has taught in your sessions. So that way, when we were humble and we were honest, he then, without asking any question, he joined. And he, for sometimes he practiced table topics or maybe prepared table topics. We had some special flexibility for him. And that way he continued. So that is one skill. Truthfully honest and truthful sales is something that I learned. VPPR Vishwajit is saying Sunio from Doraemon. Can we say? I am not very familiar with Suneo, but maybe people who know him maybe could be. Now let's switch to VP membership. Okay, you send the fun keywords or phrases for VP membership. All right. Along with the fun names, also put the questions if you have, and if you have any specific situation-based question, we can take it later on. The next role is the important role of VP education. Everything is important, but this is heavy loaded role. The club, I could say that club operations, primarily the education part is run by VP education. What is Toastmasters? It's a non-profit education organization, right? So that's why there's a high weightage to VP education's activities, performance, and roles. Right from scheduling your meetings to pushing members to take slots, to take speeches, bringing inactive members to first as a participant, then as a contributor. All these things comes under VP education's role. The first part is VP education to have fully filled agenda for every meeting. So once the meeting ends, the VP education's work starts the next minute to fill all different slots, all different role players, evaluators, speakers, to have variety of speakers, to have experienced evaluators. So filling up the agenda and planning for the meeting is one part of VP education. In addition to that, there are multiple goals by district, right? To ensure that the club is working in a good way, the quality of club is good. So selectively pushing members for level completion is also one aspect where goals are completed. It doesn't mean that you favor people by selecting people. It is just strategically planning your level completions that in such a way that in 1 year, these levels are completed for check mark of the specific goals. In addition to that, VP Education is the by default mentor. If there is no mentoring chair, then VP Education would link members to some experienced members for mentoring. If there are no mentors, then reach out to other clubs, other members to reconnect members or mentor the member himself or herself. Also, VP Education is responsible for various district level events like DCM meetings, voting for leaders. So all these things are part and parcel and would come in detail once you attend the VP Education training. But overall, if I summarize, VP Education is a role like mother of the club, takes care of the entire children's set to succeed. So success of member is equal to success of club. Success of every member is equal to success of club, right? So pushing members in their journey is something that VP Education would be doing. And there are different skills that we learn: time management, contingency management, how to fill backup, how to plan for a variety of meeting, how to enhance the meeting participation, managing a team of buddies so that that communication is done in the right way. A lot of things. And this is slightly heavy role, but also you will get a support system from your club to take care of this responsibility. All right, chat, VPM can be Amantran Mantri, okay. Motorola Moto is saying VPM test water for the potential members, though a friendly role. Okay, right, taken. All right, VP Education, we have completed. If you have any questions, please post, or you can start for the VP Education. What are some tips to get inactive members to participate? Very good question. Almost every club faces this question. So first, honest, brutal answer is there are some selected, maybe 1%, 5% based on your club membership. They will never come back. Some category where they just need a slight push. Okay, Meda, or okay, Libby, can you take this role? If not this week, what about next meeting? And there is one bucket where who would require constant push. Why are you not coming? Maybe just attend alternate meetings, then keep on following with them. So you will have to categorize your entire club membership list into different buckets and see which bucket that person falls into. Yeah, despite of multiple attempts, if that person is not attending, then I don't think you should waste energy in that member. Instead, invest energy in the member who just need a push or just a nudge. Okay, Ashwin, what about a table topic master role in this upcoming meeting? And then you given them an option. If they say no, then you give them an option. Okay, what about the meeting afterwards? So you are keeping that communication open and you are trying to get them back to the club operations or club meeting. And these are the ways that you have to try. But first, you have to understand what is the main issue. At times, person is shifting or not in town. So personal connect is very important. And this can be achieved in collaboration with VP membership or your support team that will be building for VP education. Yeah. Hemant is saying by discussing their job responsibility and telling how Toastmaster. Absolutely. So once you have that personal touch, then offer the customized benefit for them. If the person who is now getting into interviews, then tell them how this confidence building or articulation will help them in interview. If the person is in business, maybe tell them about how different projects in pathways will help them in sales or help them in investor pitch. So customize the benefit based on their requirement. Very good point, Hemant. And ultimately, it is connection to individual members. Now, finally, coming to the president role. We'll rush a little bit. It's already 9:45. Thank you, 28 people who are still here on a Friday evening rather than partying, but to understand what exactly is Toastmaster role. So president is someone who will be putting everything together. I mentioned a specific role or responsibility set for each role, right? Each position. So president does not have a specific set of responsibilities, but president has the responsibility of everything to get it done by these position holders. So in short, it's not a dictator or an instructor, but someone who would motivate and take in charge of each portfolio that I mentioned, right? So this is a role where people management skills are put to your test, because not five fingers are same. Not all six other XCOM officers would be having same amount of time, will, skill, intention to contribute, right? So how do you manage mix and match? How do you balance? How do you give them opportunity, give them flexibility, give them support? At times, being a president, I myself have created posters. I myself have arranged for snacks. So that is another thing that humbles you as a president. When the person is not available, you yourself put yourself in the ground and yourself be hands-on and take charge of the situation. At the same time, how to keep all other officers motivated for 6 months or for annual club for 12 months to keep on contributing. Show them the brighter side, show them the benefit that they would be having, the learnings that they would have, show them the accomplishment that they would feel after the end of the term if they have completed that goal. So this motivation aspect, managing people, managing the club, taking the club together, managing conflicts within XCOM, managing conflicts within members, resolving some dissimilarities. At the same time, the last and most important part is managing the culture of the club. A club can be either just hi bye, I give the speech and then later on we'll meet next week or next weekend, or it could be like a family that grows together, wishes them for each other's success. They take care of the respecting aspect of each other, time management. So all these things, having the club culture healthy is something that president would be heading. Again, there are numerous other responsibilities that we'll cover in the TLTP training if you are president in the upcoming term. Motorola Moto says, president, master of all roles. It is similar to the founder of the startup. Absolutely. So being a president, it's like you have to put your hands in everything. At the same time, you have to manage different people. So president is mama. Mama, M-A-M-A, what mama? Is it mummy wala mama or mama wala mama? But either way,
It is mummy wala mama, mama.
mummy wala mama. Yes, yes. Taking care of all the babies, right? Like twins, triplets, like sextuples or sextuples that you say, all the children together in the XCOM and managing the work. Absolutely. So that's about the all 7 roles. Finally, someone had asked about the IPP role, which is Meda had asked, she will be soon becoming an IPP. IPP's role is immediate past president. That means if you have completed the role of president, then by default in the next term, you are the immediate past president and you will be a part of the executive committee. This role is more of like a consultant's role. You won't be doing the hands-on work, but you will be guiding the XCOM based on your experience that you have, based on your failures that you had faced. So like a council, you will be helping the president primarily. At the same time, the other XCOM members when they need help. So be it in terms of decision making, be it in terms of something that you had faced in your term, but now again the new set of people are facing it, so you can guide them in that aspect. At the same time, you are someone who would be there for multiple terms. So you bring that continuity into the XCOM so that the values are taken ahead, so that the club traditions and cultures are taken ahead, and goals are now again stepped up to the next level. So that way you are a consultant or a counsel. Any question on IPP? IPP may be a one additional thing is that support squad or support buddy or buddy system. Suppose you feel that you don't
Your
have
voice was cracking. Can you repeat?
time. We'll discuss about time aspect. Okay. So the next part is support squad or support buddy or buddy system that we have in multiple clubs. Suppose you don't want to directly get into the XCOM leadership role, maybe some reason, some personal reason, family, extra work, but you still want to get a flavor of what is leadership in Toastmasters, then you can be a buddy to either of these officers. So officers are credit role, they would be serving the role with proper roles and responsibility. You as buddy can be their team member to help them with some of the responsibilities. For example, a buddy to VP education would help the VP education in maybe reaching out to members, asking, can you take Grammy one, who would be helping. Your voice cracked when you spoke IPP. Could you repeat? Okay, IPP. I will do that. Meda, in the interest of time, in the end, we'll do that. Okay, if it was cracking entirely, then no one would have heard. Libby, was IPP clear? IPP role, or was it?
No, your IPP role was clear when you were speaking about the support roles. That's when your voice is correct.
Okay, I repeated it. I'll elaborate on that. So, buddy to sergeant at arms maybe would what they do when the sergeant at arms, official sergeant at arms is absent or unavailable. This buddy to SA would be taking that opportunity to start the meeting, would help with venue, snacks, etc. Buddy to VPPR would be PR to have creative ideas on what to do, how to post content, etc. So that's how the buddy system works. In some of the clubs, they call it support squad. So instead of one buddy, with each officer, there are 3 to 4 people or 2 to 3 people. So together as a team of 4 people, they take care of education portfolio. They take care of membership portfolio. So bigger clubs can do that. Smaller clubs could do at least have one buddy to have a helping hand. The role of the exam position, right? So buddies are like stepping leaders, who upcoming leaders in the club. So that's how 7, 8 roles and the buddy system. If questions, please put, or else we'll move. Last and short part is what to expect with respect to time, effort, and beyond challenge. I'll keep on putting. We'll be taking it in the end. In each role, definitely, it's not just like you are preparing for a speech and coming to the stage and delivering the speech, right? There is some or the other effort being required during the meeting and after the meeting, before the meeting as well. So what we'll do is, before the meeting, you have a lot of setup to be done. During the meeting, you take care of the roles and responsibilities that you have been assigned. And after the meeting, consolidation and preparing for the next meeting. So I'll categorize into 2 roles. Roles like sergeant at arms, secretary, treasurer, and partially VP membership. They require sergeant at arms, treasurer, and secretary. They don't require a lot of time outside the meeting. These are not so much of time consuming roles. So if you just want to get started and if you feel that there is not a lot of commitment that you can put with respect to time and effort, you can get started with SA or secretary or maybe treasurer as well. A little bit stepping higher, the VPs, VP membership, VP PR, VP education president, these roles require a little bit more effort, because in addition to the meeting, you'll also be working before and after the meeting to plan, to prepare, to achieve your goals, to work on things to be done in between the meeting. So these are the roles which would require higher time bandwidth, but at the same time would give you a little bit extra learnings, because since the challenges are slightly different and slightly difficult, you would have to rack your brains, you'll have to connect to people, you have to work more, and that way you learn things in an accelerated way. And president, if you have a great team, ideal team, then it's all in autopilot. But you have a little bit up and down conflicts, ego, then a lot of time would be consumed. But my best learnings have come from president in people management aspect. So yeah, different roles are categorized into different time and effort requirement. And the challenges would keep on coming. But if there are no challenges, then where is the learning, right? So main thing is, purpose is something that you always keep in mind. Purpose of taking this role. If you are able to contribute meaningfully to the people, to yourself, to the club, then that is when the purpose is achieved and that is when you have excelled in that role. And once you have excelled, in the end of the term, the feeling of accomplishment that you get, that is something altogether at a different level. when you see that name of yours or your club having that award, and you know that you have meaningfully contributed to that, that sense of pride, sense of accomplishment, and sense of giving that you get is class apart. And obviously, the added benefit is the learnings that we get with respect to leadership skills. So that's about the XCOM role. We discussed about the benefits in the beginning. We discussed about 7, 8 roles and responsibilities in short, in brief, and the time bandwidth required for different categories. And finally, I definitely encourage you, if you have not yet become an XCOM officer in the upcoming term, I definitely encourage you to take that role, apply for the roles. If yours is an annual club and in between change of XCOM is not there, then do apply for a buddy role. Check out with your XCOM leaders and ask them to involve you as a buddy to your XCOM portfolio. And if you've already taken multiple XCOM roles, keep on continuing. I have done more than 10 plus, I have done 10 plus XCOM roles, and every time, every role teaches me something different. And that has been rewarded. The more that you give is more that you get. If you give X, you will get X raised to multiples of X. So that's how the learning, experiential learning in Toastmaster happens. And with that, we conclude the part that we have planned for, and we invite for questions from the audience. Vishwajit mentions, thank
Ryan has
you.
raised his hand.
Okay.
Ashwin.
Thank you, Vishwajit. Okay. Subhashini asked a question. Past VP education, present VP education, and associate who is probable VP education forms VP committee. Subhashini, maybe you could rephrase it. Past VP, present VP, and associate who is probable VP forms VP. So VP committee or maybe VP education squad that I'm mentioning, yes, you can have past vice president education. You can have new members who want to know more about organization of the club. And the present VP, which is you, if you are the VP, you can have a good committee and run the club. Shubhayan, I'll come to you. Just one question before that. For how many years do we need to maintain the records of the club document, like meeting minutes, petty cash statement, agenda, have TI framework? So the best practice is forever. Once you give the handover to the next term, you have the zip file or maybe Google Drive folder, you give that handover to them. They maintain their record, they add it to the archives, and they pass it on to the next term. But we know that it's not an ideal world, and it might not get translated to proper handovers year after year. So at least the least minimum is of that one program year from July to June. One program year, if you complete, then all the current program year's record would be there. And in the end, be it audit or be it consolidation of awards, you can pick it back and you can refer to those notes. Yes, Shubayan, sorry for keep you waited. Please go on. You can unmute.
Thanks, Ashwin. That was a great session. Got a lot of pointers on all the roles. I did not put this question on chat because it's a case-specific question. So, for a corporate club which has strict guidelines and regulations in place regarding branding, comms, social media, how would a VPPR perform their functions if they are not allowed to project themselves on social media?
Understood. So some corporates, they have that their own company name should be not attached to Toastmasters. So they use an alias name. For example, one of the companies that I know, Schneider, they use SE. So Serenity Science, that way they use. So similarly, you can use some alias or some harmonious name that goes with the Toastmasters. With respect to branding or posting content on an internal chatter or an internal tool, maybe you can find ways that does not violate their corporate policy. At the same time, you spark that curiosity among individuals or employees to join. So maybe just put a textual note saying that, okay, we are having this event, we're having this open house, or we are having this grand leadership meeting. So that way you invite people, and for that purpose, you use your company brand guidelines. So not necessary that you are not putting anything related to Toastmaster. You are just putting that there is a leadership conclave, you can come and attend. And once they are in the meeting, there you can keep the branded guidelines or maybe magazines or maybe marketing material. So you can work in a way where corporate policies are not violated. At the same time, spark some curiosity. Once they are in the system, use Toastmaster branded guideline in your closed Toastmaster community, be it your Teams group or WhatsApp group or emailing group, etc. That way you can manage.
Yeah, thanks. And I just had one additional question, which is more general, not specific to a role.
Yeah.
Can a Toastmaster be a part of an executive committee of 2 clubs or more at the same time?
You are asking an individual
One,
becoming.
yes.
Yes, that is possible. So if the person is a dual member or having a membership in multiple clubs, they can be a Sergeant at Arms here and Vice President PR here, or any combination of role is possible. But again, you ask the question to yourself, am I doing justice? If you have that time limit, time bandwidth, and your will, then definitely you contributed both the places. Your experience would be different in both the clubs. So I'm a part of 2 clubs. One club is having 80, 90 membership. Another club is having 12, 15 membership. So being an XCOM officer or even being a member of both the clubs gives me different experience. Now recently, due to some family commitment, I'm not able to attend since a month. But in general, being in 2 different environments have given me different experience. Same for XCOM. But make sure you deliver in both the clubs. That's the main.
Sure,
Ashwin,
definitely.
there's a
Thanks.
question. Have you repeated any roles and what made you do so?
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, I have repeated president, I have repeated treasurer, and yeah. So it's not by compulsion. If given a chance, I would do all the roles back to back again and again, all 7, then 7. So it keeps me on toe, right? Like it keeps me into the system, taking care of the club, helping people. So that is something. There's no individual selection that I made just because when there was a I stepped up to that role like 2 president twice, treasurer twice. Yes, twice. Yes, Divyesh. You can unmute and you can ask the question.
Yes. Hi, Ashwin. Good evening. Thanks for that
Yeah, we
wonderful
can hear.
session.
Good evening.
Yeah, just my question is just talking
Sure,
about
thank you.
the buddy system for the annual for the annual period. In middle of the tenure, some if any members drop out from the excom rules. So is there any strict guidelines to appoint any because we don't have any competent members who to take up the roles in mid of the tenure. So existing members can take up the dual roles.
Technically, yes, but there would be never a situation where you would get an ideal competent member for each specific role. So what I would recommend is if you have someone, even the skills, if they are not there, but the person is actually initiative taking, person is active and also has good intentions to contribute, then take that person and groom the person. Since you all are there in the XCOM, one person has dropped, you know the work, to take that person in the system and help that person to understand the roles and work. If there is no one, there is no active person, that ultimately one person can take 2 roles. That is at the worst case situation. Not worst case, if the situation based, you can take a call. But 3 roles should be mandatorily there. President, 1 vice president, and a secretary. These 3 minimum roles should be there. And these cannot be left vacant.
Yeah. Okay. So can we swap the roles in between the 10 years? If
In
VPR
corporate,
says
it happens a lot because people tend to move to different companies, right? So one person steps down, another person comes up. The downside of that is that you won't get the credit for the entire term. If it is 1 year or 6 months, you won't get that credit for your DTM or of the experience is definitely you will get.
Ashwin,
Okay.
the last portion of
I
what
hope
you
that
said.
answered the question.
Ashwin,
Thank you,
I
sir.
couldn't
Thank you,
hear
sir.
what you said towards the end
Now,
about the credit part.
yeah, so I said the person, if the person is dropping in between, and suppose A is dropping and B is coming in, then unfortunately either of them, none of them would get the credit for the entire term. So if someone has done 5 months and other person has done 7 months, then they would not get the entire credit of 1 year. So that is the downside. But upside is that they both would get that experience of learning, experience of managing things, club XCOM. That is the effective part. And also club would be having a person who would run the show.
Thank you so
Any
much.
last question? We are almost reaching 10:10, just 4 minutes. Any questions, be it in terms of chat or unmute, you can please go ahead. Thank you for staying till the end. I just need one thing as a commitment, that if not an XCOM role, you at least start as a buddy. And if possible, definitely apply for the nominations for the upcoming term in the executive committee of your club. Any concluding question, final question? Do share your views about the...
No, that was the host. That's Akshay.
Okay. Thank you everyone. And if there is any question, you can reach out to me one-on-one or reach out to any district officer who would be helping you with resources, with guideline. But if you want to do some self-study, the best component is just go on Google and type Toastmasters Club Leadership Handbook. You'll get a lot of information from there as well. Yeah. Thank you. Take care. Over to you, Libby, and have a great time.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Ashwin, for giving us so much insight into Toastmasters and the roles that are available for us. All your experience of 8 years, you've managed to put it into 1 hour and give it to us. And I hope I see more of you taking up roles and entering either buddy roles or XCOM roles and seeing yourselves grow not only in Toastmasters, but taking this outside of Toastmasters and using it in your professional lives. With that, what I'd like to request is the rest of you are here, if you could switch on your videos and I could take photographs. Requesting all of you, Uma, Rinki, Sangeeta, Faraz, Joanne, Vijay Sai, Jayashri, if all of you could just switch on your videos, it would be great. Joanne, we don't want a Tweety, we want you. Okay, I'll click the picture so all of you could share your reactions. We have hearts and balloons and whatnot. Say cheese. Thank you so much to all of you for being here. I hope you've taken as much as I have had. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Good night. Bye-bye.
You, Ashwin.
Thank you. Good night.